Viewers really appreciated it over the last week getting up and running on Twitch. It's been a really good experience so far, and I'm looking forward to continuing. Okay, and with that, I'm going to get going on this painting. And we're going to listen to some smooth Yacht Rock. If you don't know what I'm talking about with Yacht Rock, I'll tell you about it while I get going here. So I'm not wearing my smock today, as you can see. I'm wearing my Utah shirt. That is my home state in the USA. And I just wanted to represent from overseas. How's that? That's alright. Okay, so yeah, I'm not wearing my smock because I wanted you to see my Utah shirt. I want to represent artists of Utah, even though I don't live there anymore. Okay, so where I'm at today. Oh, and one more thing. As you can see in the background, I've put up one of my paintings on the wall here. It was looking a bit bare in here. Had it in a different room, decided to move it. And it was actually hanging right above where my son's changing table is. And he peed on it, you know, so I thought, let's move it anyway. And he was getting close to kicking it off the wall, and that would have been a disaster. So we can get a little bit more light in here. Oh, it's too much backlight. So last time I worked into this area here, got a little bit more established. I've looked at the photograph of the piece. I always take a photograph of my work in progress, because while I'm just sitting on the train or when I'm just chilling out, I'll sometimes look at it. And from far away, when you've got just a small image of it, you can sometimes see some of the mistakes in the drawing, and I use it for that reason. So I could see that I'm quite happy with this angle here and this one, and this part here is tipping out a bit too much for me, and it's making this part feel like it's going in too far. So I think it's actually this. I'm going to fix that a little bit, just make sure that this is at a right angle and it's not quite. And actually I can see my drawing underneath, it's a little bit off. So my drawing's on, the painting's off. I'm going to fix that just because it's bothering me, and I want to make sure I get it before I go forward. So that's where I'm going to start, and then I think I might start working a little bit into the sky, because I want to get that to the right brightness before I start doing any of the top of this over top of it. Okay, that's the plan for today. Now hopefully you guys are getting the stream coming through okay, and it's fluent and it's quick enough, because my machine today is running pretty slow. If you're there and it's working alright, give me a shout and say hello, it's looking alright, sounding okay. You can hear the smooth, sweet sounds. Refresh the page. I'm just going to refresh here. What a great song. Good old Steve Winwood. Okay, good. Apparently I've got an excellent streaming configuration quality going on right now. That's good to hear for me. That's good news. I'm going to put this up just a bit. think that's good. So Wednesday mornings, I take care of my boy, my son. So this morning I got up at like 4 something, 4 a.m. Hold on a second, I'm not seeing my video preview. Let me just try this one more time. There we go. No, come back. There it is. Okay. Okay, good. Looks like there's only a 20-second lag or so, which is good. So as I was saying, every Wednesday morning I take care of my son while his mom goes into central London for an appointment. So this morning I woke up at about 4 something. He was up. He needed to be fed. And I've been up since. I took a little nap this afternoon. One of the reasons why I'm a little bit late coming on stream here. Okay, let's go a little bit lighter. But I'm off my day job on Wednesday, so I intend on Wednesday afternoons to stream every Wednesday. Okay, let's just get that angle right. That's almost fixed it actually. I'll have to work it back and forth a little bit. That is a good angle, but it's in the wrong spot, just slightly. Now the other thing I'm doing now, today, is I'm gonna go a bit more brown. I've got like kind of my gray tones. I've kind of got my tones established. I'm gonna come up lighter and go down a little darker on some things, but for the most part I've got my tones, my undertones established. And now I can start to work top layers, or more towards top layers that will show in the final piece. And they're going to be closer to the colors you see in the right hand side there of the piece. So it's going to get quite a bit more browny yellow, and what I'm painting now has more of that yellowish, brownish tone to it. Still going to try to keep it loose though. I'm not going to try to tighten up too much because I want the whole thing to remain painterly. Got some Spandau on stereo moment. I've got a Spandau ballet story. Would you like to hear it? Here we go. We went to Liverpool. My mom, my wife, and I a few years ago, and got like a Beatles tour, which is amazing. And if you ever go to Liverpool, that is a must, in my opinion. So bought this cab, Beatles tour of London. Of Liverpool, and they take you all over to see all the famous Beatles sites. So you get to see like where Lennon and McCartney met, where John Lennon and his skiffle band first played, and where Paul came to see them, ended up playing guitar for them and showing that he had a lot of talent. And you get to go to Strawberry Fields, you get to go to Penny Lane, you get to see the barber shop in Penny Lane that they refer to, all kinds of great stuff. So the reason this relates to Spandau Ballet is because the cab driver who took us around was really cool, and obviously he was telling us everything. Oh man, this song is so smooth. So yeah, he was taking us all over, and he said, "Have you guys heard of Spandau Ballet?" And we said, "Yeah." And he said, "Oh, my brother's in that band. My brother is a guitarist, or he was the guitarist in Spandau Ballet." And he said that he used to be in bands and stuff like that, and ended up not being successful like his brother, obviously. But I think a cab driver doing Beatles tours of Liverpool is a close second. So I'm just crisping up a little bit of these lines here. I'm going to cover these for the most part, but you'll see some of the dark outline. Just sketching in a little bit of the detail into these window tops. Something happened along the way. Used to be happy, sad. Something happened along the way. Onkeg. Hello, how are you? How do you pronounce that? Onkeg? I have been working on this painting. This is my 6th stream session with this painting, and I've been working on it for probably about 15 hours so far. Thank you for asking. Good question. Good. Okay. You know what? I'm pretty good with the pronunciations of people's screen names for the most part, but occasionally I get them wrong. Glad to hear you're doing well. Thanks for saying hi and stopping by. Okay, I gotta say this right now. This is in the top 10 for me of all time great songs. Michael McDonald on lead vocals for the Doobie Brothers. This song is just classic. It's just the instrumentation, the harmonies, and those high vocals he does in the chorus. So I'm gonna shut up and I'm gonna let you listen to and enjoy this song because it is gotta be listened to. Where should I go next? Oh, thank you very much, Onkeg. That's really nice to hear. And I'm glad you're traversing the creative channels. That's a good thing to do. I do the same. Thank you very much for stopping in. Glad you're liking the music. Thanks for looking at my work. And I am very happy to be streaming for you, so stop back in, please. Give me a follow, and when I'm on streaming, you come by and say hello. That would be my pleasure. I need you now. My one complaint about that song is it's just not long enough. I could listen to it for another, well, I usually just put it on repeat. This song was sampled in Eminem's last album. I think it's called So Far, the Eminem song, which is amazing. Okay, the one thing that's annoying about not having my smock on is I don't have anywhere to put my rag. I've got pockets on my smock. Thanks very much for the follow. Appreciate that. See you later. Have a good afternoon or evening, wherever you might be. Even morning, possibly. Okay, I'm going to freehand all this now. I'm getting a bit too tight. I don't want to do that. I'm going to go to my flat brush. Maybe I'll come. Oh yeah, he's cool. Lost to me so far. Still working pretty thin on my paint here. I usually don't go full thickness until last layer, and then I go really thick with it with the last hits when I'm absolutely sure where I want everything. Then I'll go in with some bright kind of paints, some bright colors in where I see them in the painting and in the photograph. And I'll just do some thicker hits to give it some texture. And it's always nice to finish off with some really strong, solid touches. Shut up. Neighbors. Now see these freehand lines I'm putting in them, as long as I get them right, I'm quite happy with them being freehand. I don't need to use the ruler. Now for you fans of Yacht Rock out there, so I would tell you a little bit more about what Yacht Rock is, in case you don't know. But for you fans of Yacht Rock, you might have been thinking like I was that that last song doesn't necessarily fit into the genre of Yacht Rock, but it is, I think it's smooth, man. For pretty much straight rock and roll, that's a smooth song. Especially that effect on Joe Walsh's voice. So, Yacht Rock, if you haven't watched the series on YouTube called Yacht Rock, you need to watch it. It is incredible. It's music history. It is comedy, amazing comedy, and it's full of great, smooth music. So this playlist that I'm playing now was I mean, you can download a Spotify playlist about Yacht Rock, but I took the stuff I liked off that and I added to it. Electric Eyes. So the Doobie Brothers are very involved in yacht rock. They went from being a pretty rockin' band to a pretty smooth band with Michael McDonald and Kenny Loggins hugely wrapped up in the yacht rock scene. Of course, that term is a comedic term that they use on YouTube in this series that they've produced. It's not a technical term for any sort of music, but it has become a technical term. And I was very excited when my friend introduced me to that series, Yacht Rock, because I was already a fan of so much yacht rock I couldn't even knew it all. Didn't know the whole story behind all of it. So basically they take stories about what happened with different bands during the 80s that established yacht rock, and they satirize them and act them out, reenact them. Michael Jackson shows up. Who else? Hall & Oates are a big part of yacht rock. I'm sure they got some tracks coming up today. So if you stick with me, you will hear some Hall & Oates. And I know temptation is too great. You don't want to leave now. I gotta say though, right now, this song is not representing my musical taste. Billy Ocean, great, fine. Not one of my all-time favorites of yacht rock. But this song has fixed all that. One of the great Michael Jackson songs. Probably one of my favorites. Probably my favorite. That's going out on a limb, but I think that's probably my favorite. see if I can figure out why my notifications, my new follower notification didn't come up. I happened to notice it on the live stream. But I want to make sure I get notified and don't miss anybody. Come on, Twitch alerts. You found it, Sweetness? Good. Yeah, check out my website. You can see a lot of my websites there. I mean, my paintings there. Okay, it's saying that I'm not logged into Twitch alerts. That might have something to do with it. There we go. Okay. Alert box. Apologies, I'm just going to test my follow alert, make sure it's working. Still not playing the sound for me. Try this again. Are you guys hearing the sound? If anybody's there watching, and you can tell me if you can hear the sounds that are playing with the new follow. Broken Equilibrium, how are you? Good morning. Afternoon for me, evening for me actually, but good morning to you. Oh, thank you, Sweetness. You're so awesome for saying that. Thank you. So can you hear the new follower alert? I'm just going to do a test. Can you just tell me if it works? Because I can't hear it. Yeah, I'm glad you're catching it. Thank you very much for coming by. Really appreciate you coming by. It doesn't play. No sound alert. Okay, so there's something wrong with my sound on it. It was playing before that. It was playing just fine. Very strange. Playing on Twitch alerts. Just gonna stop my smooth music for a minute. Just check this. Okay, let's see if this works. Nope, still no sound. That's very strange. Okay, I'm not going to worry about it today. I'll try to fix it by this evening. Hopefully I'll be streaming again this evening if I can make the time for it. I started a little bit late this afternoon. Okay. That's a shame. Back to painting, anyway. You like the cat pic? I love that cat picture. Okay, I was talking about this earlier. I think Sweetness was here while I was talking about it. Chipman, Amber, how are you? Thank you for coming by. Thank you very much. So yeah, I was talking about this a little bit earlier. I'll just recap for those who just have shown up that I'm listening to Yacht Rock today. I'm listening to the smoothest music ever made. And if you don't know very much about Yacht Rock or the genre, check out the YouTube channel and videos called Yacht Rock. Because they go through pretty much in about 12 episodes, which are hilarious. They go through the history of smooth music and all the main players, and one of the main ones is Kenny Loggins, who we're listening to now. So smooth. And backing vocals on this, Michael McDonald, one of the other main players in smooth music. Remember the Doobie Brothers, solo career, backing vocals for just about everybody who was smooth in the 80s. I'm going to do a little bit more detail up here, and then I'm going to go to the sky and take it to the sky. Take it to the limit. Try to match it over here, make sure I get similar colors. I've got the color on, I'm going to make sure that those colors match where I'm using them on both sides. So the Yacht Rock series, I think it was self-produced by a group of friends that are just fans of smooth music. But it started getting so big on YouTube during the time. They made it quite a few years ago now, but eventually some mainstream actors and people started catching wind of it and wanted to be involved because they thought it was so funny. So I know that Jason Lee shows up in a few episodes. It's just awesome. It's just so funny. Got Hall & Oates, who are like characterized as like villains, like slimy little villains trying to encroach on the smooth music world. You got Christopher Cross. Okay, so that's alright. It's starting to feel okay there. Whoops. Another band that shows up in Yacht Rock, Chicago. Peter Cetera, singer of Chicago. Beatbox! How's it going? How are you today? That's a very good point. Broken Equilibrium. I did miss you, Beatbox. Beatbox, it's just not the same around here without you. We need you here. We need you here all the time. Please just stay. Just don't leave. Just never leave. So Broken Equilibrium, you know, I've been a bit shy about asking people to mod. I don't really know how. I don't know mod etiquette. I know some of the big streamers have people coming in just going, "Can I please mod for you?" Just so they can I don't know, be associated. I don't know why. But I just didn't want to ask anybody because it seems kind of like an imposition. But since you mentioned it, Broken, and since you're here, and I don't know how long you're sticking around, I'm only going to be streaming for another half an hour for right now, and then I'm going to come back later. So if you are going to be around for half an hour and you want to mod, I'd love it if you would mod for me. It's getting better and better. Thank you so much. That's the intention. There are times where it starts to get worse and you have to pick yourself up and dust yourself off and go, I need to resurrect this somehow, I need to fix this. And that's good, that's a challenge that artists have to face. I can mod you, thank you very much, Broken, I'm going to. I really want to tell you I'm sorry. You're a mod now, Broken Equilibrium. Thank you so much for modding for me. Chipman, that one next to me is one of my pieces. Thanks for asking. It's one that was hanging in a different room, but I thought the wall just looked a bit too bare, so I stuck it up next to me. I'll give you a bit of a closer look at it. This is one I did a little while ago. It's quite large. This is Brixton, London. I don't know if anybody's been from London or been to London. So this is like just a clock tower in Brixton. Not very remarkable when you see it in person. Except for it's all tagged up. It's got lots of graffiti on it. They're used to. I think they cleaned it up last year. But I just really thought it looked amazing with all the tagging on it. Oh, thank you, Amber. That's so sweet of you. Sweetness. It takes me longer than 6 or 7 days to do one of these paintings. It takes me sometimes up to a month or two, depending on how much I work on it. But it usually, on average, somewhere between 40 and 100 hours, depending on the size of the painting and the complexity of the image. So anyway, there's that painting. It's called Brixton Clock Tower. So I love to paint buildings. I do love to paint buildings. I really like architecture. And you know, the reason I like painting architecture is because, like I said, when I saw that building in real life, something about it was really interesting to me. But I think most people saw it every day and didn't think anything of it. It was the kind of building it was neglected, it was abandoned, people spray painted it. It just looked like it had been turned into, it was a beautiful building that had been neglected. So, you know, you can see down here, it's got like a to let sign. You can see that it's pretty much abandoned, or at least you can kind of get that sense of it because it's so misused. But I really wanted to kind of draw attention to how beautiful the building is, and make people stop and look at it as a piece of art, which is what it is. The building is a piece of art. The architects who designed it and the craftspeople who did the stonework and everything, it's just all art. Same with this building. Same with most of the stuff that I like to paint. I just think that they are what make living in a city environment so interesting and exciting. No, it's not about the lines we practice. I think making perspective right is more challenging. I actually agree with both of you. It is about lines. Perspective is all about getting lines in the right, and angles in the right, the exact right angle, basically. If they're off, the perspective looks off. So it is a lot about getting the lines right, getting the sizes, the relationships of different parts of architecture right. But it's very easy to get the perspective wrong. In this piece, I don't have a lot of perspective because it's kind of like that's not an extreme angle on the building. The photograph is from far enough away that you don't get an extreme angle, but you can see how off this line is. It's not parallel to the side of the canvas. Same with this side, it's tilting the other way, so there's a slight perspective to it, and keeping everything in line with that perspective. In fact, you can really tell from the flagpoles how they both kind of bend in towards each other, or start to look like they're tipping towards one another. That's just the perspective. The hard thing to do is to run that perspective all the way through and not to try to correct it, because naturally you want to make everything straight. It's just what human nature, you just want to straighten everything out. Just like when you paint a person and they've got a face that's interesting and not quite perfect, and nobody's got a perfect face, but if one eye is slightly higher than the other, your brain just wants to correct that as you draw it. So perspective is tough, but then once you've got it, it's just about, as Broken Equilibrium said, it starts to become about just getting those lines in the right place and the right length and the right size. It's got curvatures though, there's all kinds of stuff to think about. So I mentioned Hall & Oates, big players in the smooth music scene. Here we go. Hall & Oates for y'all. Oh, I've been to Venice, Sweetness. I do love it there. The architecture is incredible. I've done a few drawings of Venice. I never did any paintings, although I do want to. But the interesting thing about Venice is that none of the angles are right. I mean, none of the buildings stand straight up. They're all sinking, aren't they, into the canal in different ways. So you've got, from a distance, you've got different campaniles and you've got clock towers and things that are just slightly crooked. So when you paint it, people are going to go like, what's wrong, you know? And you say that's how it is. I did go to art school, beatbox. I went to University of Utah, which is in Salt Lake City, Utah, USA. And I didn't really learn a lot about perspective in class there. It was more just about how to measure and triangulate and use some angles to measure any drawing or anything that you draw. I did a little bit of perspective work. You know what we did in the art school I went to, what we did was we drew on the windows. So we'd actually get up to a big window, look at all the buildings outside, and we would trace them in perspective and learn a lot about how things recede into space that way. Yeah, exactly, Sweetness. So Sweetness, you're Italian, you're living in Venice? One of the lucky few. We get to live in such a beautiful environment. So I'm just going to think out loud while I do this a little bit. What I've got right now is I'm starting to put some of the darker tones in more of a brown tone because it's matching the image that I'm working from a bit better. But it's not matching up with my underlayers, which are more of a gray. So what I'm probably going to do at some point is bring everything into the same tone and same cast by doing I'll do a really thin layer, a glaze over the top, just to bring everything into the same tone category, kind of the same color cast. You know, one of the great painters that... Oh, let me catch up in the chat here before I keep talking. I love it, Broken Equilibrium. That's awesome. But just because it's you know, fantasy or even science fiction, I mean, the best fantasy artists, I think. I mean, think about the people who do the concept art for games and for, you know, Lord of the Rings films, and those guys know everything about real life perspective, and they use the real rules of physics and architecture, because I think they want to give you a feeling that it's convincing, even if something's like disobeying the laws of physics in terms of floating or, you know, weightlessness, whatever it is. The structures are still, they physically have to have some sort of feeling of realism to convince your audience that it could really exist. But I like that you just stick in a big dragon to hide to hide any inconsistencies. It's awesome. Nice peacocks. I know you do have some nice buildings in Croatia, though. I know you're not. I know you're just trying to be funny there. But I know that you're really known for the beaches, though, aren't you? In Croatia, for the weather. What was I saying? Yeah, you know what I was going to say? Sweetness is that one of the heroes of architectural painting and drawing, who worked pretty much in Venice all the time, did so many great pieces of Venice, is Canaletto. You know Canaletto? Not Jared Leto. Canaletto. Croatia's known for beautiful girls? Okay. I'm feeling that. I hear that. It's another good reason to move to a country, I think. What do you know? Speak of the devil. I've always got my art reference ready to go. Canaletto drawings. Let me just find a choice Canaletto drawing to show you how insane this guy is with architecture. Okay, here we go. I'm going to see if I can... Oh, sweetness. You're going to go. Okay. Thank you very much for coming by. I hope I see you again. So check out this drawing by Canaletto. St. Mark's Square in Venice. Is that insane or what? Look at the perspective on that. Look at all the detail. Those repeating lines. He painted just like he draws. Just amazing architecture. So, if you want to learn about perspective, if you want to learn about... It's getting a little fuzzy there, sorry. Canaletto's a guy to look at. Definitely. Really is amazing, isn't it? But, you know what? I don't think he did it by hand. Well, he did it by hand, but he didn't do it unaided. He used I think he used a camera obscura. He used a device that helped him take what he was seeing in front of him. A little mirror in there. Projects it down onto what the drawing surface he sees. It's almost like an old school projector. I think he was Italian. I'm pretty sure he was, well, Canaletto. He was Italian, but I'm not sure what part of Italy he was from. So, he used like a really early form of, it's speculated that he used an early form of projector to see what he was drawing on a flat surface in front of him and to draw it that way. Having said that, though, his big paintings are still incredible. The technique. A lot of artists back in that time used those techniques and used those kind of tools, but it doesn't stop them from being just amazing creative technicians and doing work that inspires people. Got some more Michael McDonald in the background there. If you're listening, if you're getting into the Yacht Rock and you want to know a bit more about it, watch the Yacht Rock series on YouTube. His name means canal, little canal. And he is from Venice. That's what I thought. See, we're making an educational stream here today. We're learning about perspective, we're learning about Canaletto, we're learning about Venice, learning about Yacht Rock. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, because I've only got about 15-20 minutes before I stop streaming for the time being, I'll come back later tonight. I think I'm going to try to hit the sky again, bring it up another tone, light. Thank you for anybody who's watching at the moment. Really appreciate you being here. Hope you're enjoying what you're seeing and what you're hearing. If you are, and you don't mind giving me a follow, I would really appreciate it. I'm new to streaming and I'm just trying to build up a little bit of an audience so that I can keep myself going here. And if you have followed and I didn't hear because something's wrong with my follow notification, I'm not getting the sound today, I'll fix that. If you did follow, please let me know. Or broken equilibrium since you're mod, if you don't mind. If I miss a new follower, let me know. How do you start a painting and trace or draw it freehand? I draw it freehand. This was all drawn freehand. I have done, I've used projection before. I've given it a try before. If you look at my website, there's a piece about, it's called Liberty, I think it's called National Treasures. It's got a whole bunch of celebrities in the foreground. It's just so giant. There was no way I could have freehand drawn it in the time that I had to do it. I had to use some projection, so I projected it up, bits and pieces. It was a combination of about 60 or 70 sources of different parts of the painting, but I had to use projection to get it done. I'm gonna peace out. Beatbox, thanks so much for coming by. I hope to see you again soon. Thank you very much for being here and for participating in the chat. I really appreciate it. So yeah, I've used projection. I don't think it's cheating. I think it takes a lot more than, well, you have to know how to draw before you can even do anything with projection. Just because you can start your drawing accurately with a projected painting up there doesn't mean you can do anything good with it. Cool. I hope to see you later on then. Which is exactly my point about Canaletto and Vermeer and all kinds of people who apparently used other methods to get their drawings accurate. But what I do, because I don't feel 100% good about using projected images to start my drawing, I always do my drawing first freehand. So I just do a loose drawing freehand on my canvas. Sometimes I'll do a small sketch to get myself familiar with it. And then I will draw it big, make some adjustments, and then I'll project over the top of that and just make a few minor adjustments where I'm off. And there have been times where I've been working big and I've found that I'm really far off. Even though it looks right, some of the proportions of things are not quite right. And that's just because I work fast and I haven't bothered to take hours and hours and hours measuring out my drawing. I'm a little bit impatient when it comes to that. I want to just get started. So probably the projecting probably comes a little bit out of needing to work quickly. But this all freehand, didn't bother projecting it. I was happy with the drawing, didn't want to check it. Just wanted to get going. I actually streamed the drawing. Didn't make any changes to it. Okay. Up to the sky now. I'm going to lower my canvas down. Now, dire straights don't really fit into the yacht rock scene. They're not that kind of smooth. They're a different kind of smooth. But they're in my playlist anyway because I think this is one of the smoothest songs. Whoops. Oh, you got the same easel. That's awesome. It's a Winsor Newton. Such a great easel. I've had this easel for about 14 years. Maybe a little long, not quite that long, maybe like 13 years. It's held up really well except for it gets a bit sticky when I lower it. all the way down, it's hard to get it back up. Like the wood's a little bit tight. It's like it's expanded with time. Oh, you play guitar as well, Broken Equilibrium. You're a man after my own heart. I play guitar myself, and I love Dire Straits. Your dad had good taste in music. Okay, I'm going to stop working on the building because I said I was going to do the sky. Very sturdy. You have a second off one, brain one that looks the same. Definitely not as sturdy and lovely. Yeah, I've got a smaller one as well that's not nearly as sturdy, but this is a studio easel. Not really meant to be moved around or anything like that. So it's very sturdy, but the ones that are a lot more portable are definitely not as sturdy. I keep saying I'm going to go to the sky, and I keep on finding things I want to do down here. Okay, now I'm not going to make a liar of myself. So there's no detail in my photograph in the sky. In this one, it's up on my wall here I showed you earlier. There was very little detail in that sky either. I kind of invented it. Skies you can superimpose as long as you get kind of the right time of day. I find that you can really take the sky from any source and add it in to your painting. So I might do something with this, although I don't want the sky to be the focus at all, so I won't do much. So this is another song that, I put this song on my playlist. My wife said, this isn't yacht rock. And I said, yeah, you're right, it's not yacht rock. But it's smooth. It's definitely smooth, yes. So I've got thicker paint now. Let's see if I put a little dab on here, let's see what it's going to look like. See how bright that is. That's about the right brightness for it's going to dry darker. Like I said, you always get the underlayer showing through and absorbing some of the pigment. Unless you put it on super thick. So it'll dry darker than this, but this is about right for what I want right now. I'm not going to be careful with this at all. So I even like the marks like that. I like the dryness of that mark. Don't want to lose it all, but yeah, Broken Equilibrium, that's a good question. I tend to build my color up almost the same way I build my layers up and build my my drawing up into more accuracy. I start with pretty inaccurate color. I just go for tone. So I do like a tonal underpainting. I used to paint with almost like a burnt umber underpainting, and then I would just build up color on top of it. Now I try to get the color in the ballpark for the underpainting, and then I will either do a glaze layer, or I will put some thicker paint on the very last stage that matches the color a lot more closely to the actual painting, or to the actual source that I'm working from. So yeah, I like to work almost everything that I do in stages. So the layering, the thickness of the paint, the detail, the color, all start rough and get closer to refinement as I go. And I think that allows you to leave some things the way they were originally, because I'm kind of liking some of the stuff over here that was really rough. I might not change it at all. I might not try to get anything more on the color or the tone or the detail, but some places I will. So it'll give us some sort of focus and release, and different kinds of marks, different thicknesses of paint make it interesting to look at when you see it in person, in my opinion. And I've talked about him before, talked about John Singer Sargent. He's like the master of making things look fresh and like immediate by not laboring the details, and by using different size brush strokes, different thicknesses of paint to create interesting texture and depth. So, I mean, in some ways, that he's who I think of when I'm doing that, but I don't paint like him. I'm just, I can't paint like him even if I wanted to. Very few people can. I think that's just kind of raw talent and doing it constantly, which I also don't do. I don't paint as much as I'd like to. Just don't have the time, not the hours in the day. Bloody Snow White, how are you? Good evening to you. How are you today? Halfway through the week. Hope school's going all right for you. So I'm overlapping this dark line up here a little bit, because I'm going to go back and do the detail of the building over the top of the sky. So I'm not worried about it too much. Not worried about being a little bit sloppy around the edges. Yeah, broken equilibrium. You hit the nail on the head. It's about movement. It's about energy. You can see the energy in the brush stroke. He was so confident that he didn't. It almost looks like he never made a mistake. Like he just put the paint on. It was the right color. It was the right tone. It was the right brush stroke, and he just did it right the first time. So it doesn't feel like there's any laboring. It's just immediate and fresh. And I know that's an illusion that he was able to create. But I'm pretty sure one of my friends is quite an expert on Sargent, and he said that he does a lot of underpainting as well. He does a lot of that tonal underpainting. A little stressful. I'm sorry to hear that. I hope it's not all school related. Stress at school sucks. Stress anywhere sucks. I'm fine though. I'm good. Today's my day off work. I take care of my son in the morning. I've been up really early today, but I managed to get a nap in this afternoon. Okay, I'm gonna have to stop for a couple hours here, for a few hours. I have to make dinner and help get my son to bed. He's really young. He's only 4 months old. So I'm going to stop the stream for a little while, and then I'll come back later tonight and do a little bit, hopefully another hour or two. And then I should be back Friday night after that. I'm trying to fit in as much as I can, as much streaming and painting as I can around work and other life commitments. You know how it is. But you know, I love painting and I love streaming. I wish I could do it all the time. Bloody Snow White, I really hope things get less stressful for you as the week goes on. Halfway through. We're more than halfway through. Wednesday's over now. So don't you worry. We've got a weekend coming soon. Another reason I know it's time to stop is because I've run out of white paint and I'm not going to put any more on my palette at the moment. It's still all school. Oh my god. Just too much. Too much homework. Try not to let it stress you out. Because, you know, everybody's in the same boat. Everybody you're going to school with feels exactly the same way about it, I'm sure. Even if they pretend that they don't. Nobody likes homework. Everybody gets stressed by the workload of school. Just try not to let it stress you out. Stress is the enemy when you've got a lot to do. You gotta take a break. You gotta take breaks very often. Get some perspective on what you're doing. And go, listen, it's just school. It's not the end of the world. I'm not gonna get stressed. You know what I mean? I get that way with work too. Sometimes work stresses me out, and I just have to come home and go, listen, I gotta leave it. Welcome to your fucked up school system. Hey, that's a good point, Broken Equilibrium. I did set up a donate button. The other day I was streaming and somebody said, can I donate? So I decided to set up a donate button just so I've got the option there. But I do intend to build up an audience. I'm not doing it to make money, but that does help. I'm never gonna say that it wouldn't help. Okay, right before I finish here, I'm just going to put some really wet paint, some really thin wet paint in there, just to cover some of this excess and to liven it up a bit. Don't want it to look too dry. We got Christopher Cross helping put you to sleep tonight. Big part of Yacht Rock. It's more important to be the best than actually have a life. I do not agree with that. You can only have one best anyway. Do the best you can for yourself, you know? Be the best you can be for yourself. Do enough to make yourself happy with your performance. So you feel like you've done as good as you can. If it gets too stressful, you have to say, I can't do that much, it's too much. And you have to just accept, you know, that is your best. Not everybody is going to be the best at school. Or the best at every subject in school or anything like that. Pressure, it's too much pressure to get perfect grades and all that stuff. But I don't know if that's unique to any certain country. I think some countries put more pressure on the kids than others, but I don't think any country is not putting pressure on their kids to perform at school. At least some sort of pressure. And I know what I'm talking about. I work in education. I know how much pressure kids feel to score well on exams and all that. Okay, so I'm going to stop there. It's the way your government thinks and your teachers, yeah. I know, it's how it is here in England as well. It's really messed up. Teachers are more focused on statistics and results than they are about teaching, getting kids inspired in subjects. And it's wrong, it's totally wrong, and it's the government as well. And it's the newspapers and the media saying that kids aren't skilled, you know, kids are getting worse results and all that stuff. And that they're not focused enough. I'm glad you don't think that way, buddy. So I'll show you where I'm at. Art should be fun if you're enjoying what you're making. We'll show and it becomes a chore really. If you're not enjoying what you're making, yeah. It can become a chore if you're not enjoying it. And you know, people who do commissioned artwork and they take commissions that they're not really that interested in, which I've done from time to time. Not this one. This one is a commission, but it was commissioned because they know the kind of work I like to do, and that's the best kind of commission because I'm into it. But if you're not into it, it can become a real chore, like another full-time job, and you can find yourself watching TV and going, "Do I really have to go paint?" And that shouldn't be the way it is. So there's where we are. You can see I put a little bit more depth into some of the painting. I've done a lot of line work around here. Let's see if I can get a bit closer so you can see. You've got a weird angle on it there, but you can see kind of the quality of the painting. So a lot of little kind of line work just to establish those darker, thinner lines. Done a little bit more on this side as well. And I've started to wash the sky up a little bit lighter. Yeah, Bloody Snow White, I really do. I feel you. We got to make sure as people of this generation that we don't let the same kind of pressure happen to our kids, but you know, we still have to have expectations to make sure that they learn, you know. Just the right amount of pressure. You just have to put the right balance on how much pressure and how much fun you have. So that's what I've done with the sky. You can see it's starting to get a little bit lighter. Still really washy. Still a lot of texture in there. Those flags I've just made up for the time being. I haven't looked at any flags yet. I'll probably keep the shapes there like that, but I'll put a little bit of detail into them. And I've done a little bit of the line work here. Used a ruler to make sure that those lines were not curving at all. Okay, so that's where we are. That's how it's looking, that's how it's shaping up. There it is from the front and center. And I will be back in a few hours. Thank you all again for being here. Thanks for chatting. Thanks for supporting. Thanks for modding Broken Equilibrium. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Broken. Children have no time to be kids anymore. It's sad. I know. It is sad. It's been that way though. I mean, I feel like it was that way when I was growing up. That was a long time ago that I finished school. But Bloody Snow White, just like it's Wednesday right now, and it's almost the weekend, you're in Wednesday of school, and you're almost done. Maybe you're even at Thursday evening. So I'll see you guys yet. Take care. I will be back in a few hours. And enjoy your evening, your afternoon. Let's see if you come by again. I hope you do come by again. I hope you don't fall asleep. But if you do fall asleep, I forgive you. Make sure you get enough rest. That's the most important thing. Okay guys, take care. See you soon.